Still at TIFF. Well, I just saw EMILIA, Perez, and well, we all knew this would happen eventually. A movie touted for Oscar success where I find myself on the other side of it. I am bracing for the comments, some of which have already happened, just based off my letterbox rating for it. You know, hello Oscars Reddit, I see you, I hear you, so much love. Just remember, Reddit, when you're being mean to me, this is who you're being mean to. A musical where, without giving much away, I'll just read the letterbox synopsis for it. Rita, an underrated lawyer working for a large law firm more interested in getting criminals out of jail than bringing them to justice, is hired by the leader of a criminal organization. And that synopsis certainly is hiding a lot, so I'll try to do the same. Well, here we go. Yeah, I didn't really care for it, but off the top, I'm going to say something that I know will interest a large section of people. This reminded me of a Baz Luhrmann film, and I know saying that will perk some people's ears up. You know, their sensors will go off because a lot of people really like Baz Luhrmann films. I'm like hit or miss with Baz Luhrmann, because for all that I will say about EMILIA, Perez, the one thing that I can't dispute at all, and is probably one of the more admirable traits about this movie, is how much it goes for. This movie has so many ideas inside of it, and it really swings for each one. The filmmaking is very loud, it's in your face. You really have to respect it in a way. It's a trans story, it's a musical, it's a take on the cartel and those missing in Mexico. It's a celebration of this woman. It really takes on a lot. But that's kind of my thing about this, because my God, it's trying to hold so much in its hands, and it can't without it spilling over. And to the movie's credit, I'll say, you know, sometimes that doesn't bother people. You know, I'm sure there's some movies that don't bother you about that or don't bother me about that. And that's something that I've seen repeated before about this movie, is that it is admirable how much it goes for. But I'm so sorry, this isn't one of those cases for me, because it can only slightly deliver on what it's going for. And when you expand that to a movie that's over 2 hours, it just becomes glaringly apparent that this movie and its ideas are just not enough to support the incredibly weak script. The script does not have enough to support the ideas that it's going for. And I was talking about this with some people after the movie. I mean, since the movie is going for so much, you walk away from it when it's done and you're like, okay, so what exactly is the main idea here? And I'm going to keep repeating myself for straight fear, is that, you know, again, this movie does go for a lot of things that are very admirable to talk about in film. And I'm very interested to see what you all think when you see it eventually. But, you know, from talking with others and myself, I think that the main idea, if you can pinpoint just one, if you have to pinpoint just one, is that you can never 100% escape your past. And again, without giving spoilers away, I think that is a very, very odd choice and a very odd message considering the subject matter and how it's handled. But, you know, I'm interested to see what y'all think. And I do commend that this is a musical, because, you know, even if a script, you know, is somewhat lacking in some of its themes or ideas or whichever, you know, that's kind of the point of a musical, or that can be a benefit of the musical, I should say, where it can kind of cover up some of those holes. The only problem is I just didn't find the songs that compelling either. And I'm very interested to talk about this with someone who actually is native to the language, because I can only rely on the English subtitles that's playing in the theater. And I know that subtitles are almost never a one-to-one translation, so again, I take this with a grain of salt. But I think even the lyrics of the songs just spoke to the scripts and how it can't really cover up its own flaws. For example, Zoe Saldana, who is great, and I'll talk about her more in a second. Her character is basically like a yes man, or, you know, yes woman, and that's fine. Like, those kind of characters exist in movies, but the thing is, this movie does have a pretty good first act where it really follows Zoe's character, and I liked it. And the musical numbers were a little bit more lively. I was enjoying it. But the thing is, like, her character doesn't have any desires of her own after that first act. And it just stings more, because since I did enjoy like the first 20 minutes or so, or however long, just it hurts more, you know, when it just seemingly goes away and it becomes a wildly ambitious and totally all over the place movie. But, you know, I'm in the minority. But look, this is a competently made movie, especially with the technical craft. One of my favorite things about musicals is how it can really play loose with it, and it can play loose with the lighting and the cinematography, and you almost have more of a reason to kind of go for it. The way the camera moves and the way the lighting is and the way the performances are on screen. One thing I can't say about EMILIA Perez is that it's boring, because it's not. Zoe Saldana, as mentioned, is probably my favorite performance in the film. She really elevates the material she's given, and she has a very good presence during the musical numbers that I just didn't know she had. I mean, can every actor secretly sing in Hollywood, or like, what the hell's going on? Karla Sofia Gascon, if that's how you pronounce it, great. If not, I am so sorry. I think she's great. She really shows a lot of range here, as her character certainly has a lot to her. Really, the ensemble as a whole is pretty solid. I mean, they did win the Best Actress prize at Cannes as an ensemble, so that makes sense. And also, I do want to shout out one particular scene where Selena Gomez is doing karaoke with Edgar Ramirez, and it's, you know, supposed to be this nice scene, and it is, but her singing voice is just so much better. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like you're embarrassing him right now. And listen, I'm sure this has already made some people angry, and I'm sorry, I'm sorry about that, I guess. But look, I'm clearly in the minority here. It comes out on Netflix later this year. Go out and watch it yourself. See what you think. I'm very curious. But while I admire what it's going for, this didn't work for me at all. Emilia Perez, 2 stars. I'm so cooked, man. Oh, fuck.